Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is William and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going over the non-spoiler review for Scream 6. Now, I just got to see it this Tuesday, on the discount day. I don't feel like spending $30 on a movie ticket. I was debating on seeing it in 3D. I did not. I've been watching other people's reviews ever since I watched it, and I feel like a lot of people are saying you don't really need to see the movie in 3D. It didn't really do anything. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I only spent $10 on a movie ticket. I would have spent more though. Scream 6. Wow. I don't know what else I could say. Scream 6 is almost perfect. It's almost exactly what I wanted out of the Scream sequel. If I'm being completely honest, Scream 6 is what I hoped Scream 5 was more like. So let's get right into it. I went and saw this movie at the theater. I was the only person in the theater except for one other guy who was a few rows behind me. So it was pretty cool to have that whole theater to myself. There were a few instances where I heard us both laughing, so the movie is funny, stuff like that. But if you go back and watch my video that I posted a few days ago before I went and saw it in theaters, I made a few predictions, a few do's and don'ts on what I wanted out of the series, or out of this movie, I mean. And a few of those things came true, and a few of those things did not. If you guys hear the train, sorry, that happens. And a lot of the times it honestly did things like half and half. Like it half did what I wanted, and then half changed it. So I guess it's cool that they kept me on my toes. They didn't give me exactly what I wanted, but I also think that some of those decisions weren't the best decision, and we will kind of touch on that, not too much. It is non-spoiler review, so I'm not gonna try to, I don't want to slip anything in that, that could potentially give anything away. I don't want to give even the tiniest little nugget of information about this film. But what I will say is this movie is automatically in my top 3 or 4 favorite Scream films. Like, it is in the top of the franchise immediately. I much prefer it to Scream 5. I think Scream 5 played it a little too safe. I think that if Scream 5 had taken some more risks, aside from killing Dewey, then I think I would have appreciated it a little bit more. But it's kind of like, Scream 5, by the time I get to that one, like I said in my last video, by the time I get to Scream 5, I'm kind of tired of the formula of the Scream films. I'm waiting to possibly, change the franchise at that point, like to watch something else. There's just so many similarities between all 5 of the first movies. The 6th one, however, this is the most different feeling Scream film probably in the entire series. I mean, the original doesn't really count because that's what kind of laid the groundwork down for the whole series. But the 6th one honestly reinvents the wheel. And that's not to say that it's perfect. It is not perfect. That 3rd act, I yet to know how I feel about that, and I'll explain why. When Scream 5 came out, and even Scream 4, because I saw both of those in theaters. I was little when I saw Scream 4, but I still went to go see it. But all of the other movies very much so follow the formula of the first one. This 6th one is the first one that breaks that formula at the very beginning of the movie. Beginning of the movie, formula is already broken. The minute you start to actually get back into the main group and into their storyline, you already know you are in for a completely different experience with this film. Ghostface in this film is 10 times more brutal than any other Ghostface we have seen in any of the films so far. It was just incredible what they were able to accomplish. The story made sense. Them explaining Sidney's absence also made sense. I appreciated that. If you go and watch my last video of my predictions, what I wanted, the way they handled it is exactly how I wanted them to handle it. So I'm so happy, and I'm so happy they didn't try to go more in depth or try to really over explain it, or I really hope that it was very quick, simple, to the point, and it makes perfect sense as to why Sidney would not be there. And the person that, reveals that information is exactly who I wanted to reveal that information. So I'm happy about that. Now, my biggest gripe with this whole film, and I can't say anything about the reveal because I did get partially spoiled on who the reveal was going to be online, so I don't really know if the reveal was shocking or not because I got spoiled, so I already knew who it was going to be. But that third act, the movie was going so strong. So very strong until that third act. And it's not even necessarily, I've seen a lot of people complaining about the motive. The motive doesn't necessarily really bother me. I do agree with 3C Films that there should have been an added layer to the motive, because the motive is similar to a motive that we've gotten previously. So I do agree with 3C Films in the fact that there should have been an added layer to the motive. However, it does not bother me as much as it bothered some people. What did bother me is the execution of the reveal. I felt like for some reason it felt kind of rushed, almost like they, had a certain time frame they wanted to fit everything into, but ran out of time. I will say that the third act is still entertaining. I will say that there is still room for that last act to grow on me. I mean, when I went and saw part 4 and 5 in theaters, like, it took a minute for the motives and the reveal to grow on me and for me to actually like them. And now Jill from part 4, she's honestly, I think, my favorite Ghostface. She's just kind of crazy, but yeah, part 6 definitely partially reinvents the wheel for the first 2/3 and then reverts back to that safe Scream formula, which is fine. I was a little disappointed because I think I may have gotten my hopes up and thinking that this was going to be some crazy big, amazing, like, oh my god, show-stopping reveal, and it wasn't. It was still cool. It was still a cool reveal. The acting performances, once the reveal happens, that might also have to grow on me a little bit. There's just certain little things that I'm like, we've already had a killer do that, or we've already seen, somebody act like that. I think everybody knows probably exactly who I'm referencing if you've actually seen the film. But yeah, I don't know. There's just something about that last third act that hasn't entirely sold me. But I will say that there are moments within it that are super cool. There are moments within it that I'm glad they're in there. I'm glad they did them, and I couldn't complain too much. I can't complain too much when there are other films in the franchise that are lesser. For me, part 3 is the worst, followed by part 5. I know that probably shocks a lot of people. A lot of people love part 5, but part 5 is in the bottom 2 for me. Part 6, way above that. Part 6 is way above that. So I'll have to do a ranking video one of these days so that I actually can lay it all out why I like each film. But yeah. Oh, another thing that this film did awesome was it made me love the core 4. It made me love our new characters. At the end of part 5, I didn't really care about any of them, especially Sam. I felt like for some reason Sam was kind of underutilized in part 5, and I honestly have been gunning towards maybe getting rid of Sam and letting Tara be the new Sydney. But oh my god, part 6 completely throws that out. Completely throws that out. I love Sam. Sam's one of my favorite characters now. She really comes through in this film. Melissa Barrera did an amazing job in Scream 6. I can't wait to see her character come back. It was just one of those things where it was like, oh, either the writers or the directors or maybe even her found the essence of that character and really brought it to life. And I don't know if maybe Sam was supposed to be kind of reserved and guarded in part 5, and then in part 6 really starts to let her emotions out, after she kills Richie at the end of part 5. But they really let Sam have some scene-chewing scenes in this film, and it made me fall in love with her character, and I liked her acting in it, which was one of my biggest complaints about her acting in Scream 5 was there was just something about it I didn't quite like. But part 6 completely makes up for that. The whole cast is amazing. Kirby was amazing. Gale was amazing. Everybody was, well, actually, I felt like Gale was a little shoehorned in. I felt like Gale was not entirely natural. She wasn't a natural addition to the script for some reason. A lot of her lines, I don't know, a lot of her lines read as if they were for the audience, which I guess makes sense in a Scream film, but they just felt weird. I don't know what it is, but her character in this film felt a little off. But yeah, overall, I really have no complaints with this film. I think that Ghostface was brutal. I think that the movie was actually tense. This is probably the scariest Scream film. I would say that. This is the most tense Scream film. There are so many chase scenes. The lack of them in part 5, they completely make up for it in part 6. I mean, every scene with Ghostface almost seems like a chase scene. So they completely make up for it. So yeah, I will say that Scream 6 is a really good Scream film. It's not even just a solid one like I thought about Scream 5. It is a really good one. I really highly recommend people go to see this in theaters and support the film. I think that Scream 6 shows us, the audience, we can do movies without Sidney. We can bring characters back like Kirby. Kirby, you know, she doesn't even need to be in part 7. She could be in part 8 or part 9. You know, she could just be one of those characters that pops up once in a while when it makes sense, or that could become Gale, or that could become Sidney, where they pop up when it makes sense. They don't need to be in every film. We follow our new main group for a while until it's time to pass the torch again, because I imagine we are probably not going to end with this group. Scream is one of those franchises that, because it is a different killer every film, you have a lot of wiggle room to continue the franchise, especially when new genres are going to be created in the future, new subgenres, things that we don't even have the capacity to imagine. Eventually it will happen. Eventually it will happen where our old horror icons, Jason, Freddy, Chucky, Leatherface, you know, they're the old dudes. They're the old dudes nobody cares about, and there will eventually be a new set. There will be a new set of slashers, or a new set of monsters, you know, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. They are kind of the old. You know, when you think of, oh, I love slasher films, people tend to forget that the original like forefathers of that was like the Universal monster films that was replaced by slasher films. Eventually it will be replaced by something else, and Scream is the perfect franchise to keep that going and continue, you know, being the horror meta commentary on the entire genre. I mean, especially with Scream 6, it did not fail in that regard. It did not fail, and Ghostface was at his peak in this film. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say other than it was awesome. It was awesome. I left that theater completely satisfied, a little ticked off at the ending, at that third act reveal, but I think with time it'll probably grow on me and I won't feel as harsh about it, because even now I don't feel too strongly about my dislike for it. It's one of those things where I think maybe I had just had too many high expectations, you know. I'm not one of those people who want Stu to come back, but for a minute there, I was kind of wondering if maybe they were going to go that route. I think there's even still wiggle room to go that route with certain things that are said in Scream 6 that, if you want to find out, you'll have to go see it in theaters and then tune back in when I make my spoiler review. But yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to say other than please go support this film in theaters. It is amazing. It's already made a lot of money. Its opening was the biggest opening of the entire franchise, so there's going to be a part 7. Probably even a part 8. I don't know if Radio Silence will do part 8. They'll most likely do part 7, but there's going to be a part 7. So if you are a Scream fan, I highly recommend you go see Scream 6. It is one of the best in the franchise. It sets up another sequel perfectly, I think, and it's just a blast. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun with it, and it made me antsy for next year. Or whenever the next one comes out, I'm antsy. I'm excited. I want to see Scream 7, which is not something that I experienced at the end of Scream 5. It was, you know, oh, they're making a 6th one, cool. This 6th one, I want a 7th one. So please go support this movie. All right, and that's going to be it for our video today. If you guys liked it, please like, comment, or subscribe. I make new videos every other day. I don't really have a set schedule yet. I'm just kind of making them on the fly. I'm still trying to get a hang of everything, get a handle on it, even start getting some views. I know no one's watching my videos. So I'm just hoping that at some point, you know, maybe people do, and I'll start to get a little bit more consistent with how much I'm posting. But if you guys like this video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get updated whenever I post a new video, and I would really appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.